Hi, everyone. Hi, my friends. How are you all doing today? I hope you guys are doing great. Welcome to Facts and Two Cents. This is Petal. As you know, we are a channel that supports the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry, Meghan, Archie, Baby Lily, Mama Doria, Pula Guy, the chickens, Mama Mia, the Invictus community, all of us here at Sussex Squad. I haven't I haven't done a live in a few days, so I miss you guys. I've been able to do a little bit, record, but kind of really late at night. So it would have been crazy. The last time I recorded one, I meant to drop it at midnight, and then I was doing it, and then promptly fell right asleep in the middle of dropping it, and then I had to do it the next day. So I've been kind of doing it really late at night, so it's a little bit outside of trying to do a live. It would have been way late. Although, again, it would have been day in somewhere in the world, but for us here in the US, it's a late night. So, anyways, hi guys. Let's see who is in the chat. All my friends are hanging out. I know Lydia is here, Karen M is here, our awesome moderators. Thank you guys so much. Dory is here, and let's see, Sonia and Jan and Lorna. Hey guys, Joan and Auntie Jane and Kenitha. Hi guys, Maverick, 72226. Maverick, Miss Monroe. She's like, bonjour, pedal. I love it. Bonjour, pedal and squatties. Bonjour, Maverick. How are you doing? I love it. I can be a little French. But anyways, hi guys. Man, we've got a lot. I feel like, it's so weird. I'm realizing how quickly I get like information overload and how much because this was yesterday, with One Young World, and then early this morning we got the podcast drop, and then a little bit later we have Harry and Meghan in Dusseldorf, Germany, and it's just like, oh my gosh. Like our faves are under a tree no more. I mean, I'm sure after this they're just gonna go back to LA or back to Santa Barbara. Lord willing, he keeps them safe and get them traveling back home, and they're back under their tree and doing their things. But I absolutely love how they just hang out under the tree doing their stuff, and then they just drop it on us. And it's just excellent. It is amazing. So, I mean, I would love to hear from you guys. Like, what do you got? I'm going to do an episode about what's going on today in Dusseldorf. And another, was just too much stuff for one episode. But I'd love to know what you guys. I mean, I'm sure you've talked about it. Probably with Baron and Duchess of Success. So I'm sorry, I haven't gotten the chance to talk about it. So I would just love to hear from you too. What you got out of it. How it's affected you. What you thought about yesterday. What you thought. I mean, I'm not even into fashion. But now, not that I know much of, I really know nothing about fashion and clothes, but I would even talk that too. But the one thing I absolutely just love in all of these things is how much Harry and Meghan, even though they were in the UK yesterday, they just really don't need the UK. They really don't need them. And I love the fact that, Meghan was, she's at the One Young World. And what is One Young World? What is their seminar thing that they're doing? Is for people from all over the world. And I'm so happy that those are the people that she chooses to speak to and inspire. And it's just young people from all over the world. And I am just like, and just just seeing it. I hope you guys got a chance. I had put the link in our community page, so I hope everybody got a chance to watch it. For a while there, it kind of took so long to come on. I was like, oh, is this thing gonna happen? But it did. It just, the feed started later than I was thinking. So, but I hope you guys got a chance to watch her speech and all the other things. I especially love the flags, them pulling, showing the flags, and that was just so wonderful. And the refugee flag was so powerful. Like, I didn't know there was a refugee flag before. And so that was just so powerful. And so, I mean, there were so many things that were so powerful. And then our faves were there. And so, I mean, what's not to love? Our faves were hanging out and just being amazing and just inspiring the young people of tomorrow. So I just absolutely loved it. Lorna's gotten us all started. Hi, Lorna. Lorna says, I love the Mindy Kaling podcast. It was so real. Pressure to start a family, to get married, and to have a significant other. Oh, Lorna, I'm telling you, let's just jump to that right away. Yeah, today we'll be talking about our global leaders. But yes, it is just so it was just so real. And again, I don't know how many of you knew Mindy Kaling. I knew she was, and but I've literally never seen her work, and I don't know anything about her life at all. And it's so funny. I made the decision to not know, because I wanted to, when I heard that, she was going to be on the podcast, me, I'm, oh, let me go find out everything about her now. And I was like, no, let me just stop. And I want to hear it from her. And then I'll go in and find out other things about her. And then, hopefully get the chance to watch the shows that she's been in. I've never seen any shows of hers. I just heard that she was funny. That's all I knew about Mindy Kaling, that she was funny. And I know that she's a producer of some shows and she's a showrunner. But about her, I really had no idea. I had no idea at all. And so so it was just wonderful to just let her just tell us who she was and who she is. And it was just so, like, there was such a realness, rawness, vulnerability about her that I just like, oh my gosh. And it's just so what you're saying, Lana. It was just so real. And her talking, and it's so funny to hear her, even think of herself as a, like a old maid or a spinster. And I was like, Megan is like, you're not an old maid, that she even part of her think of herself in that way, and also, guys, did you ever, like, they had talked about, what is it, an old maid, the different ways that people can think of themselves. And I was just like, what is it, like a old maid, and there's another word that they use, like something like a something back. What is, oh shoot, I thought I wrote it down. Oh no. Wait, I will find that, because I really, a Spencer, a thornback. Have you guys ever heard that before? Like, I've never heard that word before. I was like, thornback? What is that? And I was like, I had never ever heard of anything like that before. And I am like, who says that? Like, yeah, Jan, Thornback. Have you guys heard of that before? I'm going to be checking the chat to see if you guys have heard of it before, because I had never heard that word before. I was like, what? What even is that? And so Lydia's like, yeah, no, I never heard that term. Like, oh, wait, Lorna, that just jumped. Where's Lydia? Hi, good afternoon, Lorna. Say good afternoon, Scotty. But Lydia said, never heard the term. Same here. I never, ever heard that term before. I'm like, why would you even think of calling someone who is, not married and not have kids? Why would you even think of that word? Like, so I have to go back and again, really do some research on it just for myself. It's like, going back, oh, gross. Joe says, people are always trying to find out who fathered Mindy's children. So that's a thing. Yeah, that is apparently a thing where people are always trying to figure out. And it's just like, well, first of all, why is that? I think Meghan even says that. I think she even brought that up in the podcast. Like, why is that even anybody's business who the father of her children are? If she doesn't want to tell you, Why are you trying to find that out? I mean, it's just like, really? You know? And I'm glad that she's kept it private. It's her life. There's no reason if she doesn't want to talk about it. Why should she have to tell people who the father of her children are? And I love, I think one of the things I love so much about it is that her decision to be a mom and not get married. And not that she didn't want to get married. She even talked about, there was a period in time when she wanted that. She wanted the traditional. She grew up in a traditional house with, um, a mom and a dad. And so she wanted that. I think she said when she got to 20, she had a vision of when she was 24, she wanted the kids. I think she said that she wanted a husband called Josh or something like that. And then and then there was no kids at that age. But then she had, started getting writing gigs, and that would have completely intruded upon her career. And, at that time, it's like she wasn't ready. And then and she even thought about having kids. She wanted to be in a place where she's secure, when she is financially secure, that she could be able to take care of them. You don't want to, be having kids and then, you have to be like, mom, can you give me some money so I can take care of my kids? And I just love her decision. Her decision is like, okay, there is no, if I want to be a mom, there's no reason I can't be a mom. However you choose to be that. Some people adopt, some people, like her, she decided to be a single mom, and however it is, that came about is again her business. And and so I love the fact that she made that decision, and she is, strong in that decision. And I also love the fact that what she talked about, she's not a person that is like, how some of us are with kids, like, oh, gaga goo goo with kids. I taught 15 months to 2.5 years. And then I also, oversee a space where, it's like, I was working with like really 0 to 6 year olds. So I was around that for like, 4 years, probably more. And so I became all that goo goo gaga kind of person. But she was not like that. She was a person, and I'm so glad she talked about that, because I think a lot of, and maybe moms in here could share, a lot of times, I even heard a story a few days ago of a mom talking about, she always wanted to have kids. She wanted to have a child. And when she finally had the child, and she had this vision of just this wonderful bonding experience and wonderful bonding moments. And, she would be that gaga goo goo kind of mom. And then nothing. And she thought, well, maybe give it a few weeks. Maybe I'm just, and, for, I guess, almost a year, there was not that connection that she thought she was supposed to have. And it was, much later that she finally started having those. And a lot of it, I think, was postpartum depression and all that stuff going into it. But, Mindy talked about she wasn't that person. But then she talked about her relationship with her mom and how great of a relationship they had. And and that how wonderful it was with her mom, even though her mom was not that gaga goo goo kind of person. And I think that gave her the confidence that even though she is not that kind of person, that she could still be a great mom. And I'm so glad she had that experience, because women who, and I've not just this story that I heard a few days ago, but a lot of times I've heard that story before, where you'd have a child and you expect to have those moments, especially when you're breastfeeding, to have that connection, and then nothing. And then you start wondering, it's like, well, what's wrong? We're supposed to, or at least society has told us we're supposed to have it. And all of a sudden there is not there. And you get a sense of like, insecurity and all of those things that comes in to play. And so I am so happy that she had that experience with her mom. So yeah, let me see. Let me just jump in the chat and see what you all are saying as other things you guys are saying about it. I'm gonna scroll all the way down and then go back up. Iris, hi Iris. Demonia, how are you? It's so funny. I literally just typed your name a few minutes ago, Iris. Iris says, when I was younger, I wanted kids, but not to be married. So my kids first. Oh wow, cool. I love that you made that decision. You wanted, you wanted kids first, and so I don't know how you ended up doing it, but so it's cool that you made that decision. You didn't feel pressure to have like be married, and then so yeah. Joyce says podcast 3 was great and learned a lot about both women. It really was. And I've been so busy this morning. I listened to it once and I can't wait to go back and listen to it again. And because when you listen to it again, you get more and more. And every time it's just how I feel with the other podcasts. Every time I listen to it, I get something else. So yeah, absolutely. I loved how vulnerable they both were about this. Let's see. Melissa, hi Melissa. Melissa says, I would like to have kids, but with no man. Okay, there you go. More people feeling that, they want to be able to be moms and not necessarily feel like they need to be married or they need to have a man in their life. There you go. Thank you, Melissa. R. Carter said, oh, she's talking, R is talking, and Fu, I think that's why I like Archetypes. So whatever it is Anne says, R. Carter, I love that. That's why she loves it. Claire Kane. Hi, Claire. Claire says, each podcast gets better and better. It does. I'm like, and I think too, I think it's just quite normal for that to, as they settle into, work out the kinks, whatever, and I honestly didn't see any kinks in any of them, but it's like getting more and more open and more relaxed. And I love it. Absolutely love it. Let's see, mood going up. Anne says, oh, okay, so this is what Anne's saying that RR just responded to. Anne says, Petal Art Princess Meghan has thrown light on so many hidden subjects. And maybe you were writing more stuff there, but and that's the thing why people are connecting with this podcast so much, because these topics people don't usually talk about. You know what I mean? It's like topics that it's like, we know it's there, but no one really talks about it. It's not the popular topics that people would just bring up. And a lot of times it's women topics and people, especially topics, say for a woman in 30s and 40s, tend to not be the topics people want to talk about. And look, and that's one of the things that I'm seeing on Twitter a lot. It's like so many people are saying, I feel seen. That's one of a theme, people like, and they're not even squatties. It's like random people you'd run into on Twitter that has a zero connection to Meghan or the squad or something. Nothing. They're just people that are like, some people are like, oh, I wasn't even into podcasts, but just listening to this, it, touched me in a way that I didn't think. And, or, it just, again, they feel seen because finally people are just being vulnerable and open about topics that people don't really talk about. And so I love it. I absolutely love that they did this way. Yeah, Lorna is like, your podcast is so informative. Yes, it is. I agree. I absolutely agree. Let's see. Moving on. I am scrolling up. Joan Hickey says, I love the podcast. Both ladies are so honest. Yes, I love it. Can you, what specific parts stand out for you? Apart from, I know I got the others about, having kids without, being pressured to get married or whatever. So, any other parts that stuck out for you, that that I'd love to hear from, I'd love to hear about. Phyllis says, none of the people's business who is her baby's father. They are that is nosy. I'm assuming you mean nosy. Yes, absolutely nosy. And, of course, People want, they're always like inquiring minds want to know. And I understand, and I understand I could be that in some ways, but I think there are certain things that's like, okay, there are certain things that is literally none of my business. It's a reason I don't really get into people's, even Harry and Meghan, I stay on the periphery and just be happy that they're hanging under a tree. I don't get involved in people's marriages, what's going on per se. It's just because for me, it's none of my business. It is literally none of my business. So what happens in people's bedrooms is their business, and I stay out of it. I literally, it ain't my business. I don't want to know. So, and Zuri says, it is true, some moms are born, but some are made. Nothing wrong with either. Some women don't bond immediately. And so very true. So very true. And I wish all moms would really take this in, because you do hear those stories of the guilt some of them feel, which is so sad, because you feel bad for them, because I understand. And I'm not a mom. When I hold a baby, I just, for some reason, I want the baby to look at me. I want to have that bonding moment with the baby, and it's not even my baby. Right? Again, I worked with infants. And so when we are, painting and doing stuff, and, one of my greatest joys for teaching children is at the start of the class. When the first thing they do when they come in and I'm sitting on the rug, the first thing they would do is fly through the door and fall and throw everything on me, like themselves and everything that they have, and the biggest hugs. And for me, it was one of the most special moments. And so I understand. And again, these are not even my children. I don't have kids. And so I understand how special it is when you're able to have those connections with a child, because I felt like, oh my goodness, this is the greatest thing in the world to have that feeling. And so I couldn't imagine someone who has gone through and you've given birth, or however you came, however you got your child, and to not immediately feel that connection. So I could, in my own way, understand that feeling of like, well, why isn't this happening to me? Why? And that feeling that it should, and especially when society kind of really tells you that it should. So but I love this, that some moms are made. We're not always all born with that instinct. And so I think what she said was so important. So hopefully other moms who may have gone through the same thing, who may have had the same feelings or whatever, and or who are not like Mindy, you're saying, she's not the goo goo gaga kind of person, that they don't feel any kind of way just because they're not, they're not that kind of person. So so I'm so glad she talked about that, because that could be a thing. So but I just I love their openness. Rob's hanging out in the wine barn room. Hey Robert, welcome. Have me some Martinellis. Have a drink of Martinellis for me. So there. Lydia says, Royal Sussex said, let you know he's on the way. Royal Sussex is going to come. I'm so happy, Baron. I've missed you guys so much. Again, I haven't done a live in a few days. So it's just like, I missed you all. So, but let's see. I'm going to scroll down to see what else you guys got out of it. Because I just, want to be talking all the time. You know what? I not say that, Petal. I have to stop myself from saying what I always say and like get myself down. So there you go. Vanzola thinks it's fantastic. You just finished listening. I'm so happy you enjoyed it. Please share with us what you got out of it. That would be great. I'd love to hear what I know it might take a bit to digest, but let's share with us what you got. Let's see. Oh, wait. Sorry, Val. Val is saying blessings to everyone. It's so funny. Whenever I try to click on something, it jumps away from me and it like click on the wrong things. But not exactly wrong. I'm happy I got this. We're saying hi to Val Rich. So hey, Val. Go to Vanzola. Vanzola is like, oh wait. Oh, hey, just give me a second. Oh, my chat is jumping away from me. Thank you, Vanzola. Please share with us what you got out of it. And let's go to Raquel. Okay, there we go. There is the one I was trying to click on. Raquel says, I remember Missy Elliott say how lonely stardom can be. So this archetype can really reach so many people. And it is, again, I didn't check the charts today, but as of yesterday, it was still number one in like, what, 6 or 7 countries, and number two in the US. And again, because Joe Rogan, I think he does like about 4 podcasts a week or something like that. And Megan is one. So, by the end of the week, of course, it's going to jump her. So we'll see going back and forth week to week what will happen. But, hey, it is reaching a lot of people. And again, it's reaching a lot of people's hearts, which is the thing which is more important, that people are connecting with it. So yeah, I love it. Casey says, I love how Meghan always asks a personal question that makes sure that they understand that they are not pressured or obligated to answer. Very true. Very, very, very true. Yeah. And the thing that I love is they all answer it, because there's something about Meghan that people just feel like they can open up to her. And because I think she is so vulnerable, people feel like, and again, vulnerability breeds vulnerability, and so they feel like they can share intimate things. Marjorie says, another way of Meghan said that she thought she was ugly and that she had a space between her teeth and curly hair growing up. Yeah, she talked about that. She definitely talked about that. She wasn't, I think what she was talking about is she wasn't considered a beauty back then. She was considered the smart one. Like, she was very smart, and so she was the smart one. She wasn't considered your, the standard beauty. I think maybe around that time it might have been, blonde hair, blue eyed, that kind of beauty may have been in by at that time. And so she had big frizzy hair, and she did have, I seen picture of her with a gap in her teeth. And so that wasn't, today you look back and you look at pictures of her, it's like, you're beautiful. But I think what she's getting at is like, back then that wasn't your standard definition of beauty. But she was the brainy. And I love, she talks about, in order for her to not sit alone in school, she decided to become the president of this club and the president of that club and the president of the other club, so that she can busy herself, so that she can't, she doesn't have to sit alone. And I really, it was so wild how that just really touched Mindy. Like, it's like she never thought of Meghan not seeing herself as the beauty. I mean, you look at Meghan and she's stunning, but it's back then, as a girl growing up, as she said, that wasn't what was considered beautiful. And so it's amazing how societal, how your environment, your society around you looks at things, is that's kind of how you see yourself in a lot of ways. And so I'm so glad. And I think it's just like, I think it's really, you could tell how impactful, Mindy was when, how impacted Mindy was when Meghan said that. But no, I totally get that. Black Queen said, Lydia, oh, she's talking to Lydia. Yes, I like how the revelation of Meghan's part, yes, touched Mindy so deeply. She understood that she was not alone with childhood struggles. Exactly. You just took exactly what I was trying to say. Exactly, Black Queen. Exactly. And so, yeah, you could tell. It almost seemed like I don't know, that could be just me. It almost seemed like Mindy was kind of got a little bit teary, because she definitely got emotional when, you could hear it in her voice, and, and what she was saying, that it really impacted her, that she wasn't alone. She didn't, in her struggles. And so, yeah, I'm telling you, this podcast is it's amazing. Um, One of the things that I absolutely loved what they were talking about also too is when they were talking about, you know, women being afraid to be alone. Like sometimes people might get into relationships that you know, you have a partner because you don't want to go to a party by yourself, especially when you're going to say your families who has been pressuring you to get married and all of that, and have the kids and have the 2.5 kids and the house and the dog. Well, the 2.5 kids come in there with the dog, I guess, but the, you know, the house and the white picket fence and all that stuff, and to be, you know, to have someone just so people, you know, would, I guess, get off your back, you know, or get into a relationship because they're afraid to be alone, or, you know, just because that's what you're supposed to have. And I love that conversation because Meghan even brought up, you know, sometimes people are in relationships that's not even good for them just because there's a fear of being alone, you know. And did you guys hear what she was talking about also too? Of course you heard when she was talking about, you know, when she was, I think she was dating Harry, people were behaving like, you know, or saying that, you know, she was lucky to be chosen. And I love how she clarified that, like, you know, well, we actually chose each other. And Harry was also, you know, and I'm happy she, you know, she mentioned like Harry was like, she has a husband that, you know, sort of got rid of that narrative. It was like, no, I chose her, but she also chose me, and I'm lucky that she chose me. And, you know, and we remember Harry talked about having to step up his game to having to step up his game to be able to be with Meghan. And so honestly, he's the lucky one. He is seriously the lucky one, because look at what he's been achieving since, you know, since being with Meghan. And of course Harry, you know, has all the stuff that he has before, but on his own, you know, look at what he's doing on his own. And he's been able to maintain what, you know, the projects that he's been working on, but also to be able to build and have a job and, you know, do things that you would normally never be able to do as a member of the royal family. And I think Harry has grown so much, you know, so he is really lucky. They're really lucky to have each other. And Meghan has a man who protects her and stand up for her, and, you know, they're supporting her, and she, you know, he has a woman that just, you know, basically help him to get even better. So I love that. They definitely complement each other. Let's see. Maverick says Harry also has a gap in his teeth. The children will most likely have gaps. Oh, I didn't even think about that. It's so weird how, if you notice, like, there's so many similarities between Harry and Meghan. It's funny. So there you go. Maybe the kids will have gaps. When they're 18, I guess we'll find out. That's when I want to see them. I'm sure we'll see them before, but I'll wait till when they're 18. Let's see. Sherry says, Archetypes with Meghan and guest Mindy Kaling was like listening to two friends having a great conversation. Loved it. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And they just kind of let us into their private chat. And that is exactly it. And her conversation with Mariah and Serena felt like that as well. They sort of just let us into their private time, and we just got to eavesdrop. And I love that about it. Joan says, I thought Meghan revealing she was alone a lot as a kid was sad. Yeah, you know, both parents were working, and so a lot of kids are like that, you know. And again, her parents, her parents were divorced, I think, when she was 2. So I guess, you know, she's living with one or staying with the other, and they have to work. And so, you know, it's a sad fact in kids' lives, especially kids of divorced parents, where you're living with one, and you know, they have to go to work to feed you, and you kind of on your own. Maybe have some after school activities or stuff, but you know, it's kind of like their situation is like, well, I have to feed you, so I have to work, and you have to be on your own for a bit. It's sad. It is very sad. You think of single moms, it's just like, oh my goodness. I'm telling you, I bow down to single moms. I don't know how to do it. It's unreal. Alma says, yep, another great podcast. Yes. And I'm also looking for the other one, the Dragon Lady one next week, because that is a thing in the Asian community. So I am very much looking forward to that one. And the angry black woman trope. Those are the two. I'm like, yep, I want to hear about that one. That would be interesting. I would think Issa Rae. I would see Issa Rae on the angry black woman trope. I could totally see her I could be wrong, but I could totally see her in that one. Ray Raquel says, Pedal. Pedal. Hello. People act like something's wrong if you're not in a relationship, instead of realizing maybe they're fine in it with their life. That's a good point, Pedal. That people will stay in not great relationships. Yeah, they will stay because there's a thing where it's like there's some, if you're not in a relationship, something is wrong with you. I know for myself, people look at me weird, even my own family. They don't do it now, but there are a couple of times that they would, it's like, you're not married, you not have kids, you know what I mean? They don't do it anymore. But I had that, and I'm happily single. I am happily single. I don't need to get married. It's never been like a big deal for me. Having kids, the same thing. I don't have that I have to have kids thing. I love kids. I love teaching kids. And, a lot of times when I teach them, I feel like they're my children until, class is over or the program is over or whatever. But for me, my creativity are my kids. The things that I create, the things that I do creatively, for me, those are my kids. Those are the things that I birth. And, and so I don't feel like the need, and I don't feel any kind of, any kind of pressure for myself to go and have children. And maybe I'm just too selfish. I love the idea of, I can take care and teach your kids, and we can have fun and all of those things. But I actually love the idea that they get to go home to you and I get to have my freedom. I think I love my freedom way too much. I just, I love bonding with kids, but I actually also too love my time. And I love to, those moments too, when I get to say, bye, I'll see you tomorrow. I love that. And maybe it's selfish. Like, I love the kids, but no lifetime responsibility. That could be it too. I'm selfish that way. So, truth be told. So, Benful Joy says Meghan's mother left when she was 2 and divorced when she was 6, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, okay. I thought they were divorced at 2, but hey, again, I hadn't gone in and checked on that, so that could be true. So there you go. If anybody has any absolute information on that could share. I don't have that absolute information. I just never checked. So yeah. Vanzola says, Meghan figured out early to let her brains work for her. She became president of a lot of clubs she believes is accomplishing the end. And she definitely became that's what she was saying. She busied herself. So in order for her not to feel alone and sit alone at lunch, that's why she got into a lot of clubs and all of that stuff, to make sure that, to have friends and to not, be in a space where because a lot of times, again, she was a mixed race kid. So she would be the other. She would not fit into the white kids. She's not necessarily fit in with the black kids. She is the other, the one that is like, doesn't fit in anywhere. And so I'm glad she figured out early that, okay, so this is what I can do to make sure that I'm part of something. And it's sad that she would even have to, even feel that way. But that's the reality of, for kids who are biracial, and not just biracial kids, there are other kids for other reasons why, people don't, they leave kids alone, where they just have lunch alone and all of those things. You see that all the time. So not just biracial kids, but so let's see. Let's see. Ilma says in Nigeria, gap teeth is seen as beautiful. Some people even carve them out. See, different culture. I'm telling you, it's just, it depends. These kind of beauty, it depends on the culture that you live in, or the people you are around. I mean, Megan grew up in LA, so you know what the standard of beauty out there is. It wasn't a thing, I guess, that was considered beautiful. I mean, there was a time where big lips, like I've talked about my struggle with my lips. Big lips was not a thing. And for me, not even, it's not because someone said anything about my lips, but it wasn't the standard of beauty. Now people are injecting things into their lips so that their lips can be bigger. So it's amazing. Apparently, Ben is a troll. Her mother did not leave. I took that to mean, Miriam, that she left his father. I think they got separated. I didn't think, I didn't personally take it as, anything other than she left the relationship. That's what I took it as. So if you know something that I don't know, sure. But that's what I kind of took it as, that she left the relationship. That's what I was thinking of. Let's see. Let's see. Robert Collins says, Samantha must be incandescent with rage when Meghan mentioned growing up as a latchkey kid. You know what? I never looked up what a latchkey kid is. Is that me? Does that just mean that she... It's so weird. There are some terms, American terms, even though I've lived here for a while, like I never looked it up, so I never knew what it meant. And I think when she said that, and I forgot to look it up, does that mean that they just were home alone? Is that what that term mean? Because I didn't grow up with that term, so it's like when she said it, I was like, oh, does that mean that was she just home without her parents or something? So if you guys could, if you want to, no need. I need to look it up. I just realized that I meant to look it up and I didn't. Because I just didn't grow up with that phrase. She said it. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I've heard it before. I just never had any kind of connection with it to find out what the definition of it was. So, C-Max says that I had a whole collection of Archie comics. This semester I go away to college. The semester I go away to college, my father threw them all out. Didn't even ask. They were in the basement, not in anyone's way. Oh, Miriam, I don't know if she's talking to C-Mac, but that is sad. Like, he could have at least asked. I am so sorry. But it's so wild that that's Archie. Archie comics might have something, because they had something when Archie was born. They had the whole thing when Archie finds out that the royal baby is going to be named Archie. So they did a whole comic stretch about that, which we've actually done an episode of with that. And actually we did again on Archie's birthday. But I would assume Archie Comics is going to have something referring to the fact that Meghan was reading Archie Comics. But it's so, it's so cool that, that was her reading, and that was her ideal of family, I didn't really grow up on art. I mean, I knew what it was. I didn't really grow up on it. So, yeah, I just, but it's just interesting that's what that was her choice reading. So, and then she said Archie's not even named after the comic, but well, don't may not want to tell Archie the comic that the comic book guy that because he's convinced that's why big boy Archie is named Archie. But I just thought it was kind of cool. Lorna says, my mother has had a gap and she was beautiful. It's so wild. Everyone's, view of beauty and the thing they look on as beauty is so different, you know. I mean, in my country, I remember my grandmother, when her thing, my mom, if my mom is listening, she'll probably agree with this, because her thing was always about fattening people up. Because for her, when you have meat on your body, it means beautiful. She's not into thin people. Her mission in life was to feed people, to make sure you had meat on your body. And for her, that is beautiful. She would have, she passed on now, but she would fall over if she had been in this country and see people, striving really to be thin. She wouldn't be able to relate to that at all. She used to chase my sister and I around the yard to make sure we eat when we didn't want to eat stuff. Like, we didn't like fish. I never liked fish. And she would chase us to make sure we eat the fish because, it's healthy for you. And so I'm sure she did the same thing to my mom, because that's, but for her, that was beauty. Beauty was you had to have meat on your body. So she was not into that, any kind of beauty where you're thin and, it's just like, no, for her, like, no, you have to have meat. And so it's amazing to me that, how we look at beauty. Sylvia says, Pedal, I made a mistake and clicked on Daily Pop. I don't know what Daily Pop is, and almost cried hearing Lonnie Love talk at Meghan, telling her that she should feel lucky because Harry had so many others he could have chose from. So sad. So she feels like Meghan should be lucky that Harry chose her. And I think that's, again, how we view ourselves. And I think that one of, actually, Mindy actually even said it, that people, actually, let me find this quote. Where is this quote? She literally says, let's see, where is it? Where is Mindy? Oh, Mindy says, a woman who does not apologize for herself make people uncomfortable. They don't, and I love that quote. And I feel like it's the same thing where a woman who doesn't go around, feel like, oh, I'm just so lucky my husband, who is rich and, who is a prince or whatever, chose me, and feels like, no, he is lucky he chose me too. It's like, well, lucky we chose each other. And not just, and I think that is one of the big things why people are angry and really attack Meghan, because they feel like she should be grateful. She should be so grateful that she's chosen by this prince, that she should be bowing down and worshiping the royal family. And a lot of people are like, why are you talking? Why are you trying to destroy the royal family? Why don't you just be quiet, even though they abused you, even though they did all this thing? Why aren't you quiet? Why aren't you just be just so grateful just to be able to be there? Because they have such little, self-esteem, and such little, think of themselves in such a small way. Like, they don't, it's like, do you realize, you're more important? Like, and I think that is the thing. A lot of people are so angry at Meghan because she knows her worth. And she's not going to go around being grateful about people, and she knows that, Meghan is the only self-made millionaire in that family. She's the most intelligent person in that family. They are lucky to have her. And that's, and it is really sad that we think of ourselves in that way, that we can look at people, even though, whatever, and not see through the nonsense of the royal family. And so am I surprised to know that a black woman would? No, I'm not, because a lot of us think of ourselves like so little, no matter how much we achieved. Meghan achieved that stuff without the royal family. She achieved all her, all the things that she achieved in life without the royal family. She doesn't need them, and she's proving yet again that she doesn't. They need her. She doesn't need them to succeed. She was a success before, and she's a success after, and since she's left. And so it's really sad that we think of ourselves so small, and we think, you look at the royal family, what have they done to have the positions that they have, for all, like, whether it's the money or the titles or whatever. What have they accomplished to earn any of those things? Nothing. It's just by accident of birth. I mean, really? I mean, Queen Elizabeth only is queen because, her father's brother abdicated. She shouldn't have been there. So it's just by accident that they become, or are given the privilege that they are given. Meghan actually achieved the things that she has. So it's just really sad. It's really sad. I mean, that, she should feel lucky because Harry had others. Yeah, Harry had 34 years of other people he could have chosen. He didn't choose them. He chose somebody. And when Harry said he had to level up to marry Meghan, that tells you he understands that he's the lucky one. And so, that is sad. That is sad that, and I know of Lonnie Love. I don't know, what her, again, I don't know what the Daily Pop is. I'm assuming, Sylvia, it's a talk show or a podcast or something. I'm assuming if she's there, she has worked to achieve whatever it is she has achieved. Again, I don't know anything about her life, but, at least she's worked to achieve whatever it is that she's achieved. The royal family were given, and again, these are taxpayer funded people. It's just like a lot of their stuff. And again, a lot of their stuff and what they have now comes from what? The slave trade and colonialism. Hello? From our people is where they got a lot of the stuff. So to go tell, a biracial or black woman that she should be grateful to, it's like, dude, hello, what? That is, Sylvia, that's gross. That is gross. Oy. Let's see. Mercedes says, I think he's saying that Daria left Thomas Markle when Meghan was 2 and divorced them when Meghan was 6. But Meghan still did spend time with her father. Yeah. And it seemed for quite a while they had a great relationship. So yeah, that's what I got out of it too. Mercedes, that's what I got out of that. Yeah. And Brissani is confirming that yes, they separated at 2 and divorced when Meghan was 6. Okay. And so am I correct in assuming the latchkey kid thing means that she was home alone? I don't, I never looked up the term, so I don't know exactly, but I'm assuming that's what that means. R. Carter says, Meghan came home from school and no one was home. She had to let herself in and make sure the door was locked behind her. Oh, okay, thank you. So I guess that's what that means. Bonnie says, in the UK, we use latchkey as after school club. Oh, okay. So instead, mom is at work, whatever. So they go to a club and I guess until mom comes home. Okay. Thank you, Bonnie. That's a different take. In the UK, Joyce says parents are working. You come home from school and you let yourself in the home with your own key until parents come home from work. Latch key. Oh, okay. The latch and the key. Okay, now that makes sense. Okay, all right, that makes sense. Thank you, Joyce. Now I get it. Now I am absolutely okay. How to do it. Okay. Thank you so much. Um, and Cal says latchkey kid meant, and I was one starting in junior high, that you come home from school and have a period of time when there is no parent adult at home. There you go. Hence, you go in, lock your house, lock the and latch your door, and turn your key, lock your door. So okay. And Sylvia says, "Hi, parents. Hi, parents worked and had my the house. Okay. You had to go home until your parents come, latch the key, lock the door behind you. Okay, gotcha. So thank you guys for clarifying the latchkey kid thing. That is interesting. Yep. And again, they're both, whether she's with her dad, he's a single dad, and whether she's a mom with her mom, she's a single mom. So, and the parents have to work, and kids come home. That's a way that to make sure that they are safe, at least. So that is good. You do what you got to do until you can do what you really want to do. So there you go. Let's see. So okay, so we can move on. I think we thank you guys for indulging me with that podcast. But I absolutely love it. I can't wait to go back and read some more about or read some more about Mindy and see her show and listen to the podcast again. I just thought it was fantastic. And of course, yesterday, oh my gosh, guys, this was so awesome. This, and I just, Meghan is so great at public speaking about what she shared you know at the One Young World Summit. It just, I mean, the whole thing was just so beautiful. Again, I love the flag ceremony. That was so beautiful. And just everything she shared about the kids being because a lot of times she's so right when we talk about kids, well, or at least I'm saying kids, they're not kids, but young people. It's a little bit not the correct thing to say, pedal, but when you think about the young people, and I'm so glad she stressed that point, because we do talk to them about the future. What do you want to do when you grow up, or what you want to do in the future? I mean, I had this conversation with my summer program. We literally spent the time in our one of our last sessions with me asking them what they want to do when they grow up, and or they get older. And so it's so easy to just focus on the future, but I'm so happy she locked down on what they're doing now, that what they're doing now is so important, and that they should take pride in what they're doing now. Yes, we want to focus on the future too, but also take time to sit in where you are, and appreciate what you're doing, and really enjoy what they're doing. And I mean, young people around the world are doing such amazing things, and so I love that she talked about that. um what else I loved? Let's see. There was something else she said that I'm kind of, oh, I loved when she talked about when she first got involved in 2015 with One Young World, and she referred to herself as, she was just a girl from Suits, and she wasn't even sure that she I don't know, deserved, I want to say, a seat at the table, and I loved how she described herself. She's like, she was young and ambitious, how, she just talked about ambition, and being ambitious in the first podcast. And I love how she owned that, she talked about being ambitious and took back that word, and that she wasn't sure that she belonged at the table, and how, young the people at One Young World really made her helped her to see like, yeah, she belonged there. She belonged there. And I love how she was able to just, and I know that's one of the things that I don't like calling people idiots, but I don't have another word, and I don't want to, I don't use cuss words. So that is just like, I don't know. Okay, let me just leave Shutter Island alone, because that kind of stupidity is just, I just don't, I can't. But, I love how she uses her experience to relate to where a lot of them are right now. A lot of them may have imposter syndrome, and we all know that imposter syndrome. You're there and you're like, you're representing your country and you're feeling like, oh my gosh, do I even belong here? And that is so important, not just and which is one of the reasons I really was just so irritated, and I shouldn't have allowed myself to get irritated. But these older white people in the UK screaming about, oh, Meghan is just talking about herself and talking about herself and talking about herself. And I was like, she's not speaking to you. You're not the people, you're not the audience she's speaking to. The audience she's speaking to will understand what she's talking about. As a biracial woman or a Black woman, or however you identify, brown person, mixed race, whatever, they would understand what that means, because coming into those spaces, into those especially predominantly white spaces, the majority of us, including myself, have imposter syndrome. That is something that you come in feeling like, oh my gosh, do I even belong here? And to hear white women, older white women who can't relate to this, be like, oh no, she's talking. And it's just like, she's not speaking to you. She literally is not speaking to you, not the audience. Just shut up. Because, they're always telling Meghan, shut up. It's like, just shut up and go away. And I mean, look, there are a lot of you that are listening to this podcast that are white, and this is not your mentality. I'm not talking to you. I'm speaking to these specific reporters, white reporters in the British press that I've heard in the last day and a half, however long this thing has gone, since this, with the same thing. And it's just like, no, you don't know, you're not in the body of a Black or brown person to understand what this means when this is your first time coming into these spaces. You don't understand what that means and what that imposter syndrome is like. We who are especially the Black and brown community, we know what it feels like. Especially if we're the only one in those spaces. And she's talking about, being one of the counselors for One Young World. It's one thing if there are a lot of you, but when you may be one, or maybe the only one, or one of two of you, whatever, which a lot of times it is, if you look on the stage of the counselors that are on the stage, there's not a whole lot. And so if you may be the one or two, you do feel that way, and especially when it's your first time. And so it just, I don't know, it got me a little irritated. And then I had to get out. I was like, okay, just leave Shutter Island alone. There's an ignorance there that I can't with. But so again, I say that to say, this is not you. I'm not talking to you who are here. I'm talking to specifically those people who were been screaming the last few days about, they don't understand why Meghan will, speak about herself. And it's just like, oh my God. Anyways, moving on. But again, I love that she was able to relate her experience from being, from 2014 through up until now, and even getting married and having kids. And I absolutely, absolutely love that. And look, she's just so happy. I love this. And then I look at this picture. Harry's like, I don't know. For me, he looks, he's attentive to what she's saying. But I look at this picture and I feel like Harry's like on guard, like security. Let's just make sure everything is okay, But I love that he was there. I love that, because the last time she was just her, I'm sure Harry was home with baby Archie. Baby Archie was tiny baby in 2019. The last time she was there at the opening ceremony. and she's wearing that fabulous burgundy dress. And but I'm so happy that Harry was, is able to be there with her, and they were able to do this together. And I was like, look at this audience. I am just so amazed, and they just got a tremendous applause coming on, and I love it. It's just all these people from all over the world and representing, and I love that this is the audience that they chose to speak to. These are people. This is who they are. And that's why also too why I named this episode, they are the global royals, and this is who they're speaking to, not just people in the UK, not just, I should say, people in the UK or even the US. It's these people who are going to take, what they say and the time that they spend with them back to their country and make, and continue to make great changes. But I just love, I love that, that she's so comfortable speaking in front of all these people. Again, public speaking is one of those things where some people are like, I'd rather die than public speak. It literally is the number one thing people fear more. They fear it more than death. And so it's just wonderful how comfortable she is in that space, and how comfortable she is speaking about, speaking in, to that many people, and also not only speaking, but able to make an impact, through what she is saying. So I absolutely just love it. And this picture, oh my goodness. I'm like, fire. This picture is just everything for me. I just like, look at her. It's just like, girl. I mean, when I saw this picture the first time, I was like, this is exactly what Mariah Carey described Meghan in her fabulousness. I mean, this is a fierce, it's like beauty, fierce, amazing. I mean, it just has everything. And so when I saw this, I was just like, yep, Mariah Carey, yep, you know what you were talking. You know what you were talking about. This is the fabulousness you were talking about. I absolutely just love this. It's just the pose, the hair, the clothes, the everything. It's just wonderful. And oh, I know you guys remember this Kate Robinson. I think it's Kate Robinson. She was the founder, at least one of the founders. The gentleman David Jones, who introduced Meghan, they're co-founders of One Young World, and she is the one, if you guys remember, she was the one who had an issue with Meghan. One day she heard about the Oprah interview, and she said stuff, and then squaddies went after her, and then she repented in dust and ashes and apologized. And I was like, okay, but it's so funny. I was like, and totally, this is me totally reading into this picture on the left. Like, Harry's looking at her like, yeah, and Meghan, and again, it's me reading into this picture. Meghan is like, okay, Harry, come on, smile. And then Harry gives her this like shoulder hug. When Harry hugs you, he gives you a hug. This is like one of those side shoulder hugs. That was like, Harry probably is not feeling her at all. And again, this is me just totally reading into this picture. Harry's probably totally fine. I'm sure she and Meghan spoke and whatever. I mean, Meghan is here. Meghan came and, to the event. The hug was a little different from the last time, but she's here, and so I'm sure they cleared up. And so this is just me completely reading into into this picture, period. So but Harry is not, it's just me. Harry's not doing that Harry hug. It's just like this shoulder side thing. So whatever, but they had a good time. And, One Young World was tweeting out about it. They're like, excitement is real as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex take to the stage at the One Young World opening ceremony. They also tweeted like, you are in the future, just basically tweeting part of Meghan's speech. You are the future, but I would like to add to that, you are also the present. You are the ones driving the positive change we need across the world now, in this moment, in this very moment. And I absolutely love that she focused on right now, you're the one doing the positive stuff, and which shows out so much because they are in there doing this positive stuff, and then crazy people outside, at least a couple of them, I think there were like two of them, doing crazy stuff, and they're older women too. And so to see the difference with the younger generation are really focused on positive change now, and really a lot of the older generation, a lot of us, and these are much younger. They're at least a few years younger than us, and then the older generation who a few years older than us, like, we need to embrace what they're doing now. A lot of these kids are really clued into and cued into what's going on in the world, and a lot of us need to imitate their passion and imitate some of the works that they're doing and join and support, instead of being negative or whatever. So yeah. This is so cool. This guy, he is a speechwriter, and he actually did a whole thread on Meghan's speech. And he said Meghan Markle is a superb speechmaker. Global leaders would do well to emulate some of her warmth, openness, and empathy. She just delivered the opening speech at the One Young World. And again, he's a speechwriter, and he's with TED Talk, speaker and author. And so, yeah, he did a kind of a thread about, different people who use the speech pattern of Meghan. I think Oprah uses it. I think was it Beyonce, he said? Or I don't know if it's Beyonce, but somebody else. A few others, very well-known, prominent people. I think Barack Obama, I think he mentioned, who kind of use the same pattern of how they deliver a speech, where the first part is about them, about the speaker. The second part of the tweet is about us, you talking about how basically connecting with the audience and how their experience and the audience experience is the same. And then the last part is the future, like, okay, what are we going to do in the future? And so he was really complimenting Meghan's speech. And so again, he, kind of did a thread about it and named a few people who were that, but he was really blown away by her speech. And different people actually were tweeting out about, her speech as well, and her being there. Fergie, he is a community organizer in Manchester. He tweeted out, he says, great to have Meghan Markle here in Manchester at the One Young World Summit, where she and Harry received a warm welcome. Powerful words from Meghan on her inspiring journey, and great encouragement for the participants to change the world. And again, this is the difference between those reporters and the people, again, Black and brown people who understand, and who Meghan specifically tailored that speech to people she knew would connect with that speech, because they need people to know that whomever is up there, they've experienced what they are going through right now. And that's why he was, he's like, inspiring journey and a great encouragement for the participants there. They understood what she was talking about, because that's who she was talking to. Leopoldine Tassou, and I'm sure I just butchered her name, quoting Meghan, she says, I see the world through my children and try to imagine how the world will be when they will be adults, the Duchess of Sussex. And Leopoldine says, I really connect with this saying. It is what drives me to work for gender equality and peace building. Again, this is someone who Meghan's speech connects with. Specifically, she's talking about her family, and she's saying, yes, I connect with that. Again, the reason why Meghan carved her speech the way she did. Angela Minya says, I echo Meghan's concern as a new mom. What kind of world my child would be growing up in? Even more important for everyone to take action for a better world. Again, someone connecting to a group of crazy ones. Meghan is talking about self, but here are people who are part of this saying, no, I connect with that. I connect with how she talks as her concern as a mother, because hey, I'm a mom. That's my concern too, and Esther Agbarakwe, and I think I just butchered it, says, highlighting a key issue that I am personally passionate about in Nigeria: mental health support by the Duke and Duchess Harry and Meghan, One Young World. And I guess Harry and Meghan are working with her on this, I guess, on this initiative in Nigeria. So that, at least she's saying that they support it. So that's awesome. And Scobie actually also tweeted about it. You are the ones driving the positive change necessary around, I think it's around the globe. I think my facts and 2 cents thing is just blocking it. At the bottom it says, you are the future, you are the present. And it is so true. And I absolutely love this. This is probably my favorite picture apart from the other where we had fierce Meghan. This one from Ilya, this one actually, Ilya Calderon, she is the one that's standing next to Harry. So she and also the lady in the front, they both share the same picture. But Ilya, and I think she's a squad. The person who tweeted about is a squad. He says Ilya is from Colombia. She's one of the main news anchors from Noticiero Univision. She made history by being one of the first Afro-Latinas to anchor a weekday newscast in prime time. She's an Emmy Award winner. And so Ilya tweeted, with my fellow One Young World counselors, Halima is within the scarf, Halima Aden, and Halima, the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan, and her husband, Prince Harry. And Halima, she is so funny. She got her selfie, she got hugs, she got everything. And it turns out Halima is actually, I think she was born in a refugee camp. And she's also like a model, I guess in the US. And she's so cute. She also did, if you see the bottom there, she also did an interview with different outlets in the UK, including Chris Ship at the bottom. And we're just going to move our banner here. You can subscribe, as our banner says. We'll get back to that in a second. But this is her and Chris Ship for ITV at the bottom. So she did quite a few interviews. And if you know the UK, anybody who has come into contact with Harry and Meghan, they will try to interview them to get some information. So apparently Chris Ship looked like he was stuck on the outside, because I think the auditorium was full, so he was stuck on the outside and he was interviewing people. And so she got her hugs. She said Meghan came up to her, and so she got her hug, she got a selfie and everything. And so she said, this is what One World is all about: championing young world leaders as they embark on this journey to transform the world. Also meeting Meghan and Prince Harry was so incredible. She is beyond inspiring. And again, these are the people that Meghan's speech was for. This is who she was there. So she knows, she's been with One World since 2014. She knows the people there. She knows what it's about. She knows the thing that would inspire the young people there. So again, anyone who's out there listening to this, before you decide that you know better than her how she should craft the speech, really ask yourself, is she speaking to me? Am I the audience? And if you're not a young person making changes, out there, creating change in your community, if you're not out there really thinking globally and thinking of what can I do to change the world, and you're not in these spaces, chances are she is not talking to you. Maybe you're the one that needs to shut up. You're not the audience. So that is my advice to people listening. If you're not the young people in here, and especially if you're not, you know, if you're not a change maker, chances are Meghan is not talking to you. So, and if you don't know what it's like, especially as a Black and brown person going into spaces, especially a so-called white space, especially for the first time and having imposter syndrome, chances are this speech is not for you. So maybe move on and scroll on and go someplace else. So that's my spiel on that. Anyways, and oh, this is so cute. I thought this was really cute. Emma Greenwald says, incredible first one at One Young World, along with other Manchester young leaders, to hear from the Duchess of Sussex about her own self-doubt, and Bob Geldof about the terror of othering and nationalism, among so much more, has been invaluable. Again, this is a young lady, Emma, talking about the importance of hearing Meghan share about her own self-doubt. Again, as I just said a minute ago, if you are not these kind of people, if you're not a young person and you don't understand what it is to be that, chances are her message is not for you. So yeah, I'm really happy to see young people on social media sharing what they got out of it, because again, it is so important. And oh faves. I mean, how cute are they? And for us fashion people, someone mentioned this on Twitter yesterday, that the blouse Meghan is wearing, the red blouse, is very similar to one she had on in 2014. And apparently this is a picture of her. Oh, wait a minute. Where is it? Yeah, here we go. Apparently this is a picture of her in 2014. And so it's so funny. Meghan is just like, I am just reclaiming myself. Oh, whether it's my fashion, it's my look, my hair, whatever, I'm just reclaiming. And I absolutely love that. She's the same person she was back then. You know what I mean? She really has not changed. It's the same fashion, at least the long, I don't know, tie thing around, I don't even know what you call those things, bow thing that she has around her neck is very similar to that long thing that she has in the red outfit. So it's the same Meghan, and I absolutely love that. It's like, oh, she looks so cute there too. But oh my gosh, someone on Twitter posted a bunch of pictures with Harry pointing things out to Meghan. He's always pointing something out to her. And I love it. He's always showing her something, and I love it. He loves to point out this. So I was like, okay, But I love their joy. I love their happiness. I mean, may they always be like that. And apparently before we had seen pictures of them going to a train, and I don't post those pictures because one, I know where they come from, and I know is like I post stuff from the event. I try to not post stuff when they're in cars or any of those things. But I saw a picture of her in this outfit, both of them. They were apparently going to the train to catch the train, I guess, from Windsor, I guess, I don't know, or London to Manchester. And so then yesterday we later in the evening we saw this picture that they had met with a group of young people before. So they had like a round table with a group of people, and there was Sinead. I was like, oh, that's Sinead in the red. She and Meghan met, I think, back in 2014. And if you remember, she was also in Meghan's Vogue issue Forces for Change. So there's Sinead over there looking fabulous in red, and I love it. She just stands out. I love her. And so Iris Locke, who is our she is a royal, it's not a royal, she is a reporter and a squatty. She basically clued us into this one. She's like, before tonight's opening ceremonies, Harry and Meghan met one young royal delegates working on gender equality issues in their communities. They were joined by OYW counselor Sinead Burke, whom Meghan first met at the 2014 Dublin Summit, and featured her in the British Vogue guest edit. Yeah, Forces for Change. So yeah, so it's really cool that they were able to do it, because I was thinking, because when they did it in 2019, I remember Meghan went to the opening ceremony, and then they had a breakout session at Windsor on another day, I think. And so I was kind of wondering if she was going to do something like that. And since they have an off day tomorrow, because obviously Dusseldorf is over, so if I was wondering if she was going to be joining up with them for like a private session again with one young world. But then when I saw this, I was like, oh, okay, so she met with them before the opening ceremony. So maybe not, or maybe tomorrow is just a rest day for them, which is great. I mean, they've been traveling all over, so it's good to have a day off and to just be for a minute. So that is very cool. So yeah, I'm like, I feel so full. I feel so full with so many things. And oh yeah, there's this. Meghan shoe is sold out. So if you're looking for Meghan shoes, you can't find it. From Aquazura, I don't know. It's sold out. Her shoes were beautiful. So it's sold out, as everything else that Meghan touches tends to sell out. So yeah. And well, obviously, next episode we'll talk about this. Invictus Foundation stuff happened today in Dusseldorf. We know they had a great time there. I saw the pictures. I'm sure you all saw the pictures, videos. I posted some of it in our community page. So next time we will talk about, my next episode we'll talk about that. This one will just be too long to talk about that. And plus, I need some more information about the going, exactly what, apart from meeting the crowd outside and having, of course, Shutter Island is falling over themselves, because it's like, how dare Meghan and Harry have a royal, walkabout? And, they're going crazy about that. So, so anyways, so next episode, we'll talk about that. So yeah. Oh, Ethne, what are you saying here? Ethne says, Petal, you have it one statement. Many professionals know what imposter syndrome is. Many women, especially professional women of color, these RRs are not paid to listen or report, but to criticize, which is so true. Which is so true. And it just, to not even try to understand why someone would try to connect in this way is just, that's why I was like, and I don't want to be calling people that name, but it's just like, it's just so the behavior is so idiotic that it's just like, I can't even fathom how you can even criticize. Like, it boggles my mind that you could be that. Yeah, I'm a loss for words at that. I've never been I really have never been I should say I've never come across people who should be intelligent be that stupid. I don't understand how. I'm like, how do you guys function? Like, I don't understand how they function. So it's unreal to me that is. Just like, I really just can't even. But to not understand why and why someone who is in a leadership position would share her experience to help others who may be in the same position. It's like, I can't even. I just can't even. So anyways, and again, what I said, I mean, I don't mean to offend anyone here, but I had to be specific in for the people I am speaking to, the specific people I am speaking to or speaking about. Let's say Lavertha says, the way Harry and Meghan met, fell in love, and married makes me believe their love was ordained to be. And, I hope that for everyone who had, who's been in these situations, you never want people to not, be married or it not ordained to be. But I love their love, and you're so right. It feels right, and the way how they are, again, we're not in these people's homes, so you don't know what happens behind closed doors in any relationship. That is one of the reasons I don't ever get into or vouch for anybody's relationship, because again, we don't know these people. I've never met them. Some of you may have. I have never met them, so I can't vouch for anything that goes beyond what they allow us to see. And what they allow us to see is beautiful, and that's how it feels like it was ordained to be. And I hope and I pray that that's what it is when we are not there or when we don't see it. So, and I hope that for just about everybody. I mean, you don't want anybody's to get in these situations and it not ordained to be, even though a lot of times it turns out that way. You still hope if you're going to go through all of that these they last, and not just last because you just afraid to leave, but it lasts because you love each other, and they really do look like and seem to love each other in every way. So I love that. And especially when you've gone through what Harry and Meghan have, it's just there's such a deep connection between them that it's hard to miss. It's really, really hard to miss. So yeah. Jessica says, yes, Petal, the response is the general loss for I'm usually not, I'm a talkative person. You guys hear this, you hear me all the time. But it's like, it's the response is a general loss of words. Like, I'm just like, I can't even find the word to describe. It's unreal. And Lavertha, back to you, Lavertha. You are it. Lavertha says, Meghan had a beautiful life before she met Harry. She wasn't hurting for anything. And that's the thing. People want to sit here and be like, oh, I'm just so grateful to be chosen. And it's like, no. Meghan was better off. She didn't have all this mess in her life. She didn't have people trying to destroy her. She was actually had a wonderful life before she got married. So what is she supposed to be grateful for? I mean, other than now, Harry is amazing and they have 2 wonderful kids. But the rest of the stuff, she was a lot better off before. So yeah, no, so that nonsense about she needs to be grateful. Like, please. That's you guys' fantasy. You are mad because Meghan is not fulfilling your fantasy. You have a fantasy of, you being all grateful for being chosen. And just because Meghan is like, well, whatever, he should be grateful too that he met me. It kills their fantasy of being chosen. It's just like, oh my goodness. Lex says, didn't Lonnie once say marriage isn't for her, yet she wants to distract and go a different track? Oh, she did? It's so funny. Whenever it's Meghan, again, there is $1 billion industry out there for people that attack Meghan. They know that, and a lot of people, including us, Black people, including us, cloud chasing Black people, I've been buying into that exact thing. We've been buying into that. Let me join the haters because it'll give me clout. Let me join people hating Meghan because I get clicks and because I get likes and retweets. Yes, even among us in our community. And I talked about this before, and I've tweeted about this in our own community. Like, yes, Meghan is doing great and her podcast is great, whatever. One of the things I tweeted the other day, and I'm hoping that I'm wrong, but there is a jealousy within our own community. Don't be surprised if among us, we start going against her, and it has already started happening. So yeah, there is that. Again, some of us buy into and we start cloud chasing And we want a piece of the let's hit Meghan Markle and make money off of that bandwagon, unfortunately. So, as much as possible, I am not, I am blocking these people. I will not engage in any way with them and just blocking them and not have any kind of anything to do with any of them. So, and that's what I suggest that we all do because it's real, unfortunately. And especially especially that it's a woman of color, a Black woman. I mean, the same thing. They've done the same. A lot of people have done the same thing. Look at what they've been doing to, Vice President Kamala Harris, even among our own community, even in our own community. I remember calling out some Black reporters who were for no reason attacking the vice president. And it's just like, what are you doing? And so, yeah, it's just, there's this thing in our community. I think we need to have some serious soul searching as to why we destroy each other and why when someone is rising, there's a section of us that really feel that in order for us to succeed, we need to tear each other down. And it is horrendous to look at that we do that. And so, yeah, unreal. Lex, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your support and your donation. Lex says someone should tell Russell Myers and Lorraine. Well, Russell Myers and Lorraine, I mean, we talked about that, especially Russell Myers before. Russell Myers just lies. It's just, he's one of the most lying reporters I have never seen somebody lie with a straight face like Russell Myers. Like, this guy just lies. And it just sort of rolls off his tongue. And it's just like, it's scary how this guy's just lie. And it's just like, it's scary to watch him do it. And so I'm like, I shudder to think the people in this guy's life, because I am like, I would hate to think, if he has a partner or whatever, the lies that this guy would just say. And he just says it with just a straight face. And it's unreal. So anyways, yeah. Jill Woodstock, thank you so much for your super sticker. I appreciate you guys' support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I would say avoid British, especially morning television. I can't. For me, it's kind of like, vampire cross. You put the cross there and you're like, no, absolutely. I will not watch this. I mean, it is unreal to me too to watch how they go on national television and they just for no reason lie, and nobody says a word, nobody fact checks, nobody nothing, and they just feel like, okay, I could just go and lie and get paid for it. And it's scary to watch. And so I feel so badly for our squaddies who have to, and again, you don't have to watch their show. I suggest you don't. But who, if you do, who really have to put up with that stuff. I couldn't do it. I literally couldn't do it. It's probably one of the reasons I've not watched television in years. Even in the US, you have that mess, so it's unreal. Lydia says, Petal, did you once did a research on Angela Levin? Could you do something on Nana Akua? Is she the one on the GB something? It's so funny. I think she's the girl on GB News. I think she's on. I don't know what African country she's from. But she is just very nasty to Meghan. I mean, vile. And the funny thing about her is the same person that you're talking about, Lydia. Someone, she posted something very negative about Meghan, and a squatty, I guess, I think she posted a screenshot of it. But the squatty kind of went beyond, it's like, for me, it's one thing to respond to someone and to disagree with them and to whatever, have a fight, whatever, however you feel you need to, defend Meghan. And I'm like, whatever, you do your thing. But she proceeded to call Nana a dog and a dog that nobody would want. I mean, I literally had to respond. I was just like, okay. It is one thing to disagree with this woman, whatever she says, the same thing with Angela, you know. It's one thing, to disagree with Nana. And it's a whole lot of other thing to call a Black woman a dog and all the other horrible things she referred to her as. And so, a couple of people was like, well, she said this thing stuff about Meghan. And I was like, I understand, that's fine. But as a Black woman, I'm like, that's a no. We have enough people calling us, whether it's monkey, whether it's, all these other things. I'm not down with whatever it is she says to be referring to a Black woman as a dog and all of those things she was saying. I'm sorry. I'm just not down with that. But then it got me to thinking, even here, there are things that, ways that we, and that's one of the reasons too, I was trying to not say like the word that I was saying and not to say that to someone. It got me to thinking about how I describe people, how we sometimes describe people who, sometimes we refer to women as, pick an animal. We've done that. I've seen, even to say Camilla, referring to her as different animals and whatever. And I was like, you know what? I don't like that. Because and I don't know if this girl, I don't know if she's Black or white. I have no idea. I just knew when she referred to her and the way she referred to her as a dog and all, I mean, it did something to me. I was just like, oh my goodness, no. And I was like, I need to have that same conviction about other people. Because if someone else saw me refer to them as an animal, then they would most likely have the same reaction. And so I had to check myself and to see the things that I would accept. And if I can't accept it for me, then I have to be considerate of other people. And I could disagree with them. I could disagree with their character, whatever it is, they've done. I could vehemently disagree. And I could be like, no, I could go after that. But when I'm describing someone and I'm referring to them as an animal and I'm referring to them as, whether it's a dog, a cow, or pick an animal. And I've done that. And I was like, wow, when I saw this, and this girl, Nana, is a dark-skinned Black woman, and I am a dark-skinned Black woman. Did something to me. I was like, that one cut. And I was like, I would criticize what she says. I would criticize her words. I would criticize her character, which is horrendous a lot of times in the way she, what she has been doing. I could criticize those, but I would not go after her looks. I would not go. She did not give herself the face. She did not give herself the color. That is God. When I'm doing that, if I went after that, that's me. I'm saying like, God, you don't know what you're doing to give her the looks that she has. That's something that he gave her. And it's not right. And so I had to check myself. And so I'm going to check here and I'm going to ask, and I already asked about the cuss words, but I would ask if we can limit that because I did not like that. And we talked the other day about, Karen, the same thing. I would say that and not considering that there's a Karen out there that might really impact. And I think it's a lesson that taught me in learning. I need to learn different ways of saying what I need to say without being derogatory. If I need to every single day pick up a thesaurus, a dictionary, whatever, to try to find different words to say what I want to say without, and have the same conviction and have the same, whatever, without coming after people's looks, without coming out and referring to them as animals in any way and all of that stuff. And I know maybe some of y'all will be like, okay, Petal, I'm not coming back to your podcast. And I totally understand. And be like, well, that's censoring. Probably. And I don't want to censor and I don't want to do all of those things, but I just want you to consider. It's like, if what I'm saying, if someone were to say that thing to me, how would I feel? And that's kind of what I got from that Nana thing yesterday. When they did that, I was just like, holy mackerel. And they didn't even say it to me. And even though she has done horrible things and she has said horrible things, as a dark skinned Black woman, hearing a dark skinned Black woman being called a dog, that hurt. That cut. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have to change me. I'm going to have to change the way how I think and say, and the words that I say about people, because that didn't feel good. And so again, I don't, we have different ways of expressing ourselves and whatever. And again, I don't mean to, censor anyone, but I just want us to consider that. So that's all I'm going to say on that. But thank you, Lydia, for bringing that up. Yeah, and again, I don't know anything about her at all. So I will have to go find out. And that is good because she has been doing that a lot. And so it'll be good to go and find out what her deal is. So anyways, let's see. Felicia says cookies and creams, Omarosa, honey. Omarosa are people never learn. Okay, I'm not really sure about that. But I know I saw a video with her and one of those podcasters who was cloud chasing, trying to come up for Meghan. And someone showed a video of Omarosa, even though, I'm not a fan of Omarosa, but she really owned that podcaster. And, so it was very funny. I was just like, oh, wow. But a lot of people, again, cloud chasing, whether, they have a podcast and are jealous of Meghan because, again, she's been number one and their podcast is languishing somewhere and they are going after Meghan to cloud chase again. So, yeah. Let's see. Gwen says, unfortunately, not wrong about jealous. I mute and block. I'm telling you, block and be blessed. Block and be blessed. Wilson Nabafu says, Nana is a disgrace to the nation of Ghana. And I wonder what hatred she is teaching her kids, if she has any. I don't know what happened to her. I literally don't know why. And again, she's working for GB News, and GB News is they're very right wing. Their motto is let's hate Meghan Markle for ratings. It is just wall to wall. If you're on Twitter, you'll see whenever, you see anything from GB News as their listeners complaining about the wall to wall coverage of hate towards Meghan, especially. Sometimes Meghan and Harry, but mostly Meghan. And they just have a culture of hate. And that's how they're building their brand. They're cloud chasing and using Meghan to build and make money. It's a $1 billion business to hate Meghan. And so the majority of the UK press, that's how they're making money. People are still advertising. Why? Because people in the UK especially are watching those shows. They're clicking on those articles. They're liking and retweeting it. And a lot of them are fake outraging it. Like they're going to retweet the negative stuff and then claim to be outraged about whatever it is the, Daily Mail or Sun or whatever, says. Yeah, but they're still retweeting the hate. And it's just like, well, what's the point? You're just spreading the message to all of your followers. And so, yeah. It would be very interesting to find out, and I would definitely go look up Nana Akua. It's just like, I'm telling you. Felicia Tata says, in Ghana, we call someone like Nikia a bounty black outside, white in black outside, white inside. I wouldn't call her a dog pedal, but Nana is nasty. Yeah, her character is the way she speaks is just very attacking and all of those things. Definitely. But you don't want to call someone that. It's just that's just no. I can't with that one. Let's see. Cookies and Cream says, the sellouts, these sellout skin folks will all get their comeuppance when they finish dancing for the masters. Master Supremacist is no longer needed. They'll get kicked to the curb as usual. They never learn. And it's so funny. And I was gonna bring it in here, and I completely forgot. I think I tweeted about it so much yesterday that my brain is like, I'm done. You're so true. It is so true, Cookies and Cream, because it's like they sell out. I mean, there's been this whole thing. We've done a whole podcast. We did a podcast about it a few podcasts back about The Voice in the UK that had Prince Charles guest edit. And so now they've got major blowback and so we were tweeting about it yesterday. And, there was this thing like, reporters in the UK are really, they feel like it's a sensitive issue, that they don't want to criticize The Voice, I guess, because it's the black, the only black outlet in the UK, at least a print outlet in the UK and all of that stuff. And I was just like, excuse me, this is not a sensitive issue. This is a cowardice and it's a loyalty issue. This is a sellout. You sold out. Paulette Simpson and Lester Holloway, who the manager, director and editor of The Voice, sold out. They allowed Prince Charles to come in, and because they had, Paulette has a CBE, she sold out. And when, and there's this thing like, we invited Prince Charles. Nonsense. Absolutely nonsense. I don't believe that on one bit. I believe that they were approached and then they couldn't say no. Why? She has a CBE. Their loyalties are bought. And so they will sell out. I mean, Nana she doesn't have, at least not that I know of, has any, an OB or MBE, but you wait, she might. We're gonna have to go look up what she is. But it's kind of like they don't learn. You see this thing over and over and over and over. And then The Voice has the nerve, after all of that mess of selling out, including my favorite PM, Mia Motley. I am so upset that she allowed herself to be used for this article. I'm like, lady, I love you, but no. Idris Elba, the same thing. He's an OBE, the same thing. Now, one of the things, Nadine White, whose article who I use quite a bit on the podcast, she wrote a whole article about it. And one of the things in our article, and I think maybe next episode I'll bring it in, one of the things she says is, Clarence House, which is Prince Charles and Camilla's Twitter, that's their Twitter handle. When they tweeted out about, him guest editing the issue, they tagged Mia Motley, Prime Minister Mia Motley, they tagged Idris Elba, they tagged all the other big name people who were part of this issue. Not one of those people retweeted it. Not one of those people advertised this article. And I'm like, yeah, no, of course they're not. Because they have allowed themselves to be used and now they're getting backlash. So they're not going to advertise it. And it's such a disgrace that they will allow. I mean, people have been this whole last few months. Even if you think about it, I mean, they were in the Caribbean, the royal family in the Caribbean, and people are screaming for apology. They're screaming for reparations. You would have the nerve to have this man who they've never apologized. They have no plans to, pay reparations. I mean, Paulette Simpson is even on the group that's supposedly they're taking care of the Windrush generation. She's on the board of that group. And Prince Charles has done nothing to advocate for these people to get reparations. He's done nothing to advocate for them to stop deporting the people. To stop making people stateless because they claim they've lost their records. He has done nothing. And Paulette Simpson sits in that board. She sits in that group and had the nerve, instead of getting people money so they can live, she has the nerve to be part of that group that took that money. What is it, $1 million they took to make that statue? And she was there. She was part of that group taking pictures with William and Kate. And then she has a nerve to have this man and then try to sell it as, we have something in common with the royal family or with Prince Charles and the Princess Charles. I'm like, are you serious? Are you serious? What do you have in common with Prince Charles and the Princess Trust exactly? Prince Charles's organizations, all of his charities they've all been this last few months, what the last year have been involved in cash for access, cash for honors, taking bags of cash and all of those things. What do you think Prince Charles want to, why do you think Prince Charles want to be like, oh, my Princess Trust is doing all this stuff for Black people? Why? To use you, just like he used baby Lily and big boy Archie to hide behind, oh yes, he met them just when he needed it, when that bag of cash thing came out. He used them to hide behind. This is exactly what Prince Charles is doing. This is all about advertisement for his, Princess Trust, all the great things they're doing for the Black community. For the fact that they allow themselves to be used in this way and then try to sell it to Black people as talk about, you're trying to give people prime steak served on a garbage can. I mean, what on earth? And then they expected, they're like, oh, well, they expected some backlash. People would be upset and you still went ahead and do it. I guess they expected like, oh, we'll get some backlash, but we'll get a lot of publicity and we'll get a lot of, people buying it or reading it anyway. Well, no, a lot of people in the Black community are really calling them out, to the point where when Nadine did her article yesterday, Lester Holloway, came on Twitter and he's like, no, your article is wrong. Not wrong, but at least it's misleading. And Nadine was like, no, we're leaving it. We feel totally fine. What we wrote is what we wrote. And I even tweeted at him. I'm like, dude, y'all royally messed up. You need to own your mess. You slapped Black people you slapped us in our face. No amount of tweeting and talking is going to get you out of this. And people are really upset, as they should, as we should. When you see people just sell out like this. Again, people have been screaming for years for this. And to see people, and again, influential Black Brits. That is why the royal establishment, why the British government will never respect us. They'll never respect Black people because they know they'll have influential Black Brits there to cover for them. Whenever they need to pretend like, oh, I'm not racist, they know they have people with OBE, MBE, CBE, DAME, whatever their things, the letters they have after their name, they know they have them there to cover for them, to gatekeep for them. So they will never respect us. They will never apologize. They will never pay reparations. Just not 1 cent is going to be paid. Because they will always have people that will sell out. And it's so frustrating. It is so frustrating watching it play out right in front of you. And it's like, oh my gosh. So right now, my favorite PM is not really my favorite PM. Give me a minute, maybe she will be again. But I'm so upset. I mean, I've never really cared about Idris Elba. I mean, I'm to say I'm not a fan. It's not something, but still, knowing he's a prominent person and did that is just, dude. I mean, and yes, when he was growing up, the Princess Trust helped him, but there's a bigger picture. There's a bigger issue here. And even, with Barbados and celebrating their independence and all of that, there's still, for me, looking at their relationship, there's still a bit of Stockholm syndrome there. There's still that skirt, my grandmother used to call it like what is the skirt string or purse string or whatever. Not purse string, that's money, but still attached, whatever that thing is, the umbilical cord still attached, because there is still that umbilical cord to the royal family that's still attached there, that needs to be cut in some way to be truly free. So whatever they need to do, I mean, I still love her, but that's very disappointing. Extremely, extremely disappointing. So maybe I'll get over it, but right now I'm disappointed in my favorite PM. Very disappointed. Let's see. Adrian says, people do anything for money. and don't care about the consequences. And yeah, that's the culture we have right now. No matter what, what race, what, culture, I mean, that's where we are. As long as I get mine, I don't care how it affects someone else. And, look, I could see that some of that in me as well. So I'm always having to like look at myself whenever I see stuff like that in other people. I'm like, okay, am I doing that? I always have to do that mirror check. It's like, look at myself. It's like, okay, am I doing that? Okay, if I'm doing that, let me just change. So, but yeah, it just unfortunately. Let's see, moving up. Pretty Face. Hi, Pretty Face. I don't think I've seen you in here before. Welcome. Let's see what Pretty Face has. It says, my mom always, if you're not important, no one talks about. So mechanical is very important. So they will keep talking about her. I'm not quite sure. I understand. My mom always, if you're not important, people. Are you saying that if you're not important, people wouldn't talk about you? I'm assuming that's what I'm kind of getting from what you're saying. But yeah, I mean, if that's what you're saying, it's so funny because I guess at least those on Shutter Island keep saying that the Sussexes are so irrelevant that people don't want to hear from them. People don't want to see them because, the others are so important. Yet they only, there was a prime minister that got sworn in yesterday and you would not know it from the British press. And I was going to pull in, Scobie tweeted about it and somebody else other people have tweeted out about it, about the fact that they're, again, the Queen, I think she met her today, but even today as well, that there was a new prime minister yesterday and that she met the Queen today, but 99.9% of the news coverage have been about Meghan. And it's just like, and again, if you're not important, people won't talk about you. And so for me, I'm like, Meghan might as well have just, signed up to be prime minister because she's all, and also Scobie was tweeting about articles in the BBC that was most read. And Meghan was the top article. And below Meghan, then it came the new Prime Minister, Liz Truss, or whatever. And the same thing is again today. All they want to talk about is Meghan. And again, she met the Queen today. And it's like, if you look at the coverage, 99% of it is Meghan and Harry. And it's like, well, who is the royal again? And who is the Queen? And who is your new Prime Minister? If you don't know from the coverage, you just wouldn't know. So it's unreal. Oh, Glenn, thank you so much for your super sticker. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate. Thank you. Oh, what? Your dad is in the hospital? Oh no, I am so sorry. We'll pray for your dad. Oh my goodness. And that you would even do that, to think about listening to this while you're in the hospital. Oh man, guys, let's pray for Gillian's dad. I am so sorry. Well, I'm gonna pray that he gets out of the hospital like pronto. So I am so sorry, but I am happy you're here. At least, hopefully this is a bit of a distraction, and I can understand that when you're in that situation, you need something to just sort of, for a moment, get your mind off. And I appreciate, and I'm glad that we can be some kind of, even if it's just a distraction, so, but definitely I'll be praying for your dad, Glenn. Thank you for at least letting us know. Yeah. Hey, people are going through stuff, guys. People are going through stuff. Karen Werner says, she's my favorite PM too, and I was so disappointed for her to allow herself to be used like that. I always talk about her and Harry, even on this podcast. I always talk about her and Harry, even on this podcast. I was so upset. Yeah, I'm like, but you're my favorite PM. I've been so disappointed that I literally have not checked her Twitter feed. Like, I just kind of like, I can't even right now. I just can't. I'm so disappointed. I'm like, and again, she does great things. She does, especially climate change. She's such a big advocate because, again, countries like Barbados and the smaller countries, my country and all of that, they're the ones suffering from the mess from larger countries. And so she's such a great advocate, in so many ways. And she does so many great things. And then I saw this and I'm like, but I'm disappointed in you. I can't believe you did that. So, maybe she's seen the error of her ways. That's why she has not promoted that article. So at least that's in her favor. So hopefully it stays that way. But yes, I feel very disappointed. Yeah. Let's see. I am scrolling down to see what y'all saying. Anthony Green. Anthony says a lot of this behavior is also rooted in the class system in the UK. It is in their DNA. If you're not royal, those honors are considered a social step up in this system. They swear to protect the crown. Yeah, that's what you're doing. You swear to protect the quote unquote British Empire. I understand this. I totally understand. Yeah, I totally understand this. It just, and I think what needs to happen is the class system that needs to be destroyed. Because this is the thing when it's kind of like the opportunities are just not there when you're not, with these honors, so-called honors like the MBE, OBE, and whatever it is that those letters after your name, it sort of gives you sort of a clout. It gives you sort of like, oh, you might be invited to parties or whatever, or events that you normally wouldn't have if you didn't have those letters. The royals will call on you, and if the royals call on you, then it'll give you some worldwide attention, or bring worldwide attention to your organization, or whatever it is. And I totally understand that. I totally understand that thinking. But the problem with that is there's a whole other issue that has to be considered. There's a whole, it's like kind of like you have to, and I understand the desire to want to get a leg up, to want to, finally, I've done all this great work and I'm getting recognized, and I'm getting, finally I could maybe have the job that I would never be able to have if I didn't have those letters after my name. If I didn't have but then what happened to the other people though, who don't have those letters? What happened to the people who've been begging for reparation? What happened to the people who are being deported? Your own people. And these people who are giving you these so-called honors they're not advocating for your people. So you get a leg up, but then what about the others? Because when you are caping for these white supremacists, what you're doing basically is pulling up the ladder and shutting the door behind you. Because when you take those things, you're basically, your loyalty is to the royals. Your loyalty is to the British establishment. Your loyalty is to that. But so what happened to the people who are out here begging, begging, demanding, pleading, whatever, for all these years to be not only recognized, but to get the money and all of that was promised to them, that they worked for, that they deserved? What happened to the countries that were raped and pillaged by these people? What happened to those countries whose stuff they stole, the very things that they have and claim, that we claim that is theirs and it gives them the wealth and all of those things? But those things are your people's that they stole. So it's just like there's a bigger issue here. And if everyone put their minds together and work on this bigger issue, then nobody would need those stupid trinkets. Because the bigger issue is the reason these people have the money, the wealth, the status, and all of those things because they stole it from your people, from our people. And that's what we need to be focused on getting back instead of taking stupid trinkets. Because no matter how high you rise, you're still going to be licking their boots. You're still going to be at their mercy. And on top of that, you've just pulled up the ladder and shut the door on the people who have been demanding, reparations and apology. And so that's why you get in this mess with The Voice. So it just, so this whole, and that's again, going back to this, it's like that whole class structure needs to be dismantled so that people understand, and have opportunities where they can grow and where they can, exceed the, wherever their imaginations, as opposed to whenever you want to do something, whenever you want to achieve something, you have to leave the UK and come to the US or come to a country that will, give you an opportunity where you can flourish. But at least have opportunities open where you can flourish. That's why a lot of celebrities, whatever, from the UK end up in the US. Because at least in the US, you have an opportunity to flourish. Do we have class system here? Yes, we do, but not in the same as the UK. That's a whole other issue, especially with the new Jim Crow, which is mass incarceration. There's a whole other issue class system there. A little bit different from what this is. So it just, that is the system that needs to come down. Because that is the system and this is the system that is propping up the royal family. This is the system that's propping up the very people that you're bowing to and accepting these ridiculous trinkets from. If you take that system down, they don't have any power. They don't have the influence. And that is what needs to come down. So, anyways. Let's take a few more before we end. Thank you guys for, oh my gosh, it's been 2 hours. Oh my gosh. I tend to not look. And so, yes, we are over 2 hours. So a couple more before we end. Let's see. Let me look at, Cookies and Cream is talking to Black Queen. Everyone and all on social media platforms need to get it viral and trend until it's picked up. It is not on social media, but I've emailed every credible news possible. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Cookies and Cream. So maybe you can explain who you're talking about. Marcia Delvies, Marcia says there's a Jamaican podcaster out of England on the hate bandwagon, but other Jamaicans are calling her out. Good. It's good that people are calling. I'm telling you, it is the people have figured out that hating Meghan is a way they can make money, including our people. And so, unfortunately, a lot of them are joining that bandwagon. Murray, I think you're it, Marcia. Marcia, exactly. She was better off, and I can't imagine how Harry feels seeing how her life has been disrupted. I'm sure he feels awful. I could imagine, because she had a great life before. She definitely didn't have this mess and people attacking her on the daily. And I'm sure there's a lot of guilt there. I am absolutely sure. And so I can't imagine how he must feel. It's like, it's how I would feel. I mean, I would think anybody who, you marry someone and you have this great plan and great life, and then to watch her life just be upended and people just hating her for no reason. And where there really is an industry of people literally doing this for money. And I can't imagine how that must feel. So yeah, it's really heartbreaking to know that they're going through this. Let's see. Black Queen says we should hammer it in to all Megan's friendly podcast. I only have YouTube and Facebook, which I don't really use. Stupid algorithms. Yeah, I don't use my Facebook either. But yeah, it's all over. I know, again, I'm mostly on Twitter, so it's all over Twitter. We have been tweeting. I mean, it's been wall to wall Meghan and Harry podcast. I mean, it's just been wall to wall that. And I am so grateful the majority of squatties have been just completely staying away from the British press and their nonsense. So I am really happy to see that. I haven't seen much of their nonsense across. I mean, I know it's there, but so I'm grateful to see that. So yeah, it's been, so I don't know for the other social media platforms, again, because I don't use it, but I know on Twitter it's definitely wall to wall. Lydia says, Pedal, you prosecuted your case. Oh! Baron is going to he's going to turn me into some legal person, like a prosecutor or something. I know. It's so funny. Thank you, Lydia. Let's see. I'm scrolling up a bit, see if a couple more before we close. Let's see. 53 CR Price says, hi 53 CR Price, how are you? 53 CR Price says, it's true, there was a time when girls were either smart or pretty. You couldn't be both. And I remember being smart. It took me a while to know I was both. Wow, this is so powerful, CR Price. And yeah, it's totally, yeah, you are either one or the other. And as Meghan says, she was smart. It wasn't the pretty, she was smart. And it's so wild how we do that to each other, like how we have these kind of like, no, you can only be one, you can't be both. And so happy that now we're getting into a place where it's like, no, you can actually be smart and be pretty. You can actually be a woman, smart, pretty. You can actually be a woman, smart, pretty, kind. You can actually be a woman, pretty, smart, kind, still be a boss and still, be an incredible boss, and you can still expect from your staff the best, and you can still be a person that'd be like, no, this is what I want and this is how I want it, and you can also still be pretty doing it. So I'm just happy we're in a place where we can be all of those things no matter what some want to say. And so yeah, I just like, we can be girl bosses who are amazing, pretty, smart, and all of those things. I love it. And I think that's why a lot of people don't like Meghan, because she represents all of those things. And she is doing it fabulous. In spite of all of the things that's happening around her, she is doing her thing. And a lot of people resent that. And I just hope she just continue being her fabulous, and according to Mariah Carey, her fabulous diva self. I love it. So let's see. One more. Oh, Lydia, thank you so much. And I even forgot that. Lydia, you're awesome. Lydia says, SUSSEX Squad fundraising campaign, Centibali, we are now at $39,065 raised, 662 supporters, and we have 9 days left. Of course, the 15th is when it ends, which is Prince Harry's birthday. So we are almost at 40,000. So it is awesome. All of that money, obviously, again, going to Centibali. So thank you so much, Lydia. I forgot to get the screenshot of it. So thank you for reminding us about that. So perfect way to end. Thank you so much, Lydia. And thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Thank you to our awesome moderators who are here. Some of us are here. I don't know that everyone is here, but Lydia, Washington, Church Nelly, Karen M, Julie Rock, Cookies and Cream, you are awesome. Thank you so much for making our time here safe and fun, and all the other things you do to just, to moderate the chat. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. And thank you to our incredible 2 Cents crew who supports the channel monthly. I appreciate all of you so much. And finally got that members thing out of the way. So Iris, you were the one that it was blocking. So you're there. Thank you to our new members, Church Nelly. Thank you. And J Matt. I think you guys were the last ones that came in. Thank you for joining our 2 Cents crew. Thank you to all of you. I am most grateful for your support. And also to all of you who... Okay, I need you guys' help because, first of all, thank you to all of you who support us during like the super chats, do the super things, all of that. Thank you guys so much. And I'm putting everybody's name, and I'm not done. So I'm almost have everyone's here who have supported us in the past with the super chats here in the chat, the super thanks and all of those things. Thank you so much. But what I need help with is a name. I don't like gold star supporters. I don't feel like that's part, it doesn't represent who we are. So if you guys could, in the regular chat, help me find a name for everyone who's been supporting us, whether it's in the super chat, super thanks, or like PayPal, Cash App, buying, merchandise, also the art prints and all of those things. I want a name for us. And so gold star supporters is just not working for me. So if you can help me come up with a name, that would be awesome for all of you who have supported us. So thank you so much. And I know some of you who've been supporting us that way are also 2 Cents crew members. So I'm like, oh, I love it. Thank you. I appreciate all of your support. And so anyways, guys, next one, I'm going to go down and we'll talk about what happened today in Dusseldorf with Invictus. And so, yeah, it's been fantastic hanging out with you guys. Thank you so much for hanging with me. I appreciate all of you. And we're just going to end this out here with a little bit of inner space. Oh, I didn't even get to do my little change music today. Next time. We were all talking about the same thing, so nothing had to change. But anyway, guys, I love you all. And I will see you next time.